I see you've tried to do your part for giving back. Talk to us about some of the things that you're doing.
I grew up in a house that we were used to hosting. Hospitality was always a big, we were the house that people came to. We
Trust.
host gatherings and the African parties, man,
Trust me, I'm
where,
always there.
uncle so-and-so, everyone's uncle or auntie. So it's just giving is what I knew growing up. And my friends and their families, they gave so much to me, and they created safe environments to give and to receive and learn those values. And in 2010, I was up in Seattle, and a woman named Cindy Knopfsiger reached out to me. She came to our hotel, and we sat down to have a chat, and she asked me, how would you like to change the world? I had never even thought about that. I never even thought I had the capacity to change the world. I always thought I had the capacity to change the scoreboard. World. And it empowered me so much. So she gave me a book called The Long Way Gone. And I went back to LA and read the book. And I got to learn what I never knew, because my story had changed. I moved to America, and I was protected and shielded from the war in Sierra Leone. I was already going through so much because of the trauma that it probably was the last thing I needed to find out as a kid growing up. So I don't even have the words for how it made me feel, but I'll try. I was saddened. I was heartbroken. I thought of the family that I found out I lost because of the war. I thought of friends that didn't make it because of the war, and people who passed away that sacrificed their own lives so I could have a future. And I was so touched and empowered by that book and what I learned that I wanted to make sure that never happens again. So I called Cindy up and I told her that I wanted to use my platform as a footballer and what was given to me, which was soccer and education. And I wanted to give that to the next generation of Sierra Leoneans. So she told me about the organization she worked for, Schools for Salone, and we embarked on this partnership to build a school in my home country in a 5-year span. And when you dream something that big, it's exciting, it's a rush, but then the realities of, oh man, how do we get there in 5 years' time? So, we did a fundraiser in Southern California, and we raised $15,000 afterwards, which was incredible. First time out. And we kept raising a little bit here, $5,000 there, $4,000 here. And when I got traded, it became really hard to do the fundraiser in LA because I wasn't there in person. And social media, to do stuff remotely, it wasn't a thing at the time. I think Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube were your things, but Twitter was just getting going. So I started doing neighbors, all the sounds here. I started doing stuff locally in Philadelphia. And the hardest thing that I learned in that process is it's okay to ask for help. Nothing good worth doing was meant to be done alone. We need each other and we need help. So people I think of, the John Stranges, the Eric Jensens, and Sahara Milani, Christina Velasquez, and so many people throughout that 5-year span led to 2015, where I partnered with Kei Kamara, who had just come back from from Middlesbrough to come back to the MLS that year. And everything, just when it's meant to be, there's nothing you can do to mess it up. You can, but what is meant to be yours cannot be lost. So we ended up raising, in the end, I think about 75,000 or somewhere close to that in 5 years. But the majority of that money came in 1 year. Kai ended up having a season of his career, and I think should have been MLS MVP, led his team all the way to the MLS Cup, was just a man on fire, could not stop scoring. And that garnered national and international attention for our school and the project. And the agreement that we came up was, look, you do the media part. I will do the philanthropic fundraising and get out there and tell people about it and the organic stuff, because that was what I was passionate about, along with playing football.
Yeah.
And it was a partnership that we created that was fruitful, and it led to this creation of the Education for All school in Allentown, Freetown, Sierra Leone. And I always wanted to build a school that was in the neighborhood I grew up in, the village I grew up in. Allentown is the village next to the village I grew up in.
Oh.
So, and it was a village in need. And the school in Sierra Leone, we all have a legacy that awaits us. And the school in Sierra Leone will be one of the greatest legacies I can think of leaving this planet when my time is come and gone. So I'm very passionate about Sierra Leone. I'm very passionate about kids, education, and football. In what order, I'll find out. I'll be able to tell you more about that as the years go. I think education, I joke around about that, but education has the power to change the world.
When you finished the school, sorry, my bad.
Go on.
When was the first time that you got to actually go and see the school? Because obviously, when you're building something, you're getting the buzz from building it. But then once you've achieved something and now you're seeing it real time, like, how was that feeling of getting there, knowing that these past 5 years of hard work has now set and you're like seeing it real time? How was that? And when was that?
Until you see it in person, it doesn't make it come to life. You can't grasp it.
Yeah.
I knew that we were doing something special and unique that would be life-changing, but you don't know what life-changing means until you see it and touch it. Yeah. And you put your feet there. So there was about a 2-year gap between the school being built in 2015, and it was one of the best birthday gifts I've ever received. It was built 3 days before my birthday.
Wow.
And Kai and I had an amazing conversation, and Kai goes back to Sierra Leone more frequently than I get to go. So Kai got to go the following year and just was buzzing about it.
Yes.
You got to go. And in 2017, I remember saying, no matter what happens, I'm going and seeing the school. So I got called up for a national team game against Kenya, and I was buzzing. I was playing some of the best football I ever played in my career when I was playing in Miami. And I was thinking, oh man, me and big Victor Wanyama, I'm going to take him out. He's got nothing. I'm coming. I'm coming for you, Vic. Don't take me seriously on that now, Vic. I'm retired. But I was confident. I was informed, and I was buzzing about it. I went back to Sierra Leone to play a national team match, and didn't realize that what I was actually going back for was to see the school. And I didn't get to play in the match, and I was so upset. Family came out, uncle came out, and they were buzzing, and we won. And it was a big celebration, but I was hurting. I was like, I came all this way to not play, and we won, so I was excited for that. But I got an even better gift. I got to go see the school, and there was a monsoon that happened through we played through a monsoon, and we trained through a monsoon. So in Africa, when the roads when rain comes, it's clay, so the roads are not as. And the last day, the day I was flying out, I had a nighttime flight. So my plan was to go see the school if the rain would let up. We drive up in the mountains and get to the school about an hour and a half away from the hotel we were staying at. And as soon as we get to the school, it stopped raining. And people from the village start filtering in, and they held a parade at the school.
Oh, damn.
A ceremony and a parade. Thank you. Pretty much to say thank you so much. Here's what you didn't know. While I was in America dreaming about this school, at times wanted to give up on the dream because there's so much work that goes in it. There's uncertainty you have to go through. You have to turn and pivot. You have to ask for help. It's a process in itself. They told me the story of what was happening. And the short of it is that there was no school in the village up until that point, and the school that was there previously had been destroyed. So families would have to walk miles, and their kids would have to walk miles to get to the next closest school. So imagine a 6-year-old child having to walk a mile down a mountain and catch a taxi with strangers, to go another mile to catch one of the main taxis to take you to school. not very,
Mad, bro.
not the safest thing you want a 6-year-old to be in.
No.
Well, that 6-year-old might have a 4-year-old sibling, or that 10-year-old might have a 6-year-old sibling. And just finding out how the height of their need led to the timing of money coming in from left and right in that year there was this crying out for help us, please help us. And the money just started flowing and coming. And so when I got to hear the story, when I got to hug the kids and got to play soccer, we had this ceremonial soccer. And I didn't realize how powerful it was because at the time, but we let the young girls play first.
Yeah.
And that was a statement, huge cultural statement. Because I'm a big believer in gender equality. And before we played, all the boys lined up and they rushed the field first, and all the young girls were kind of reserved.
Yeah.
And stopped the match before it could start. And I said, "Boys off the pitch, ladies first."
Yeah.
Everyone just looked at me like cross-eyed or cross. And so I said, "Look, here's one of the things that, as young boys, you will thank me for this later. But if there's one I can share with you, it's this: be kind, be good, be gentlemen, respect women, and because of that, ladies first." And I had fun playing with both the boys and the girls, but man, something in me came alive seeing those young women empowered and going against the cultural grain of men first. So I hope that that's just one seed that this school will stand for years to come of change and social change in particular.
Yeah, for sure. Now rolling it back to football, so obviously you're at Philly whilst you were doing some stuff, and then you moved to New York Cosmos, right? How was that, and then to FC Cincinnati, and then obviously to San Antonio in the end?
Oh, you got a whole nother session for me to tell you?
Just give us a little brief.
The move from Philadelphia to New York, that was the first time I fought for myself. I gained this belief in what I knew what I brought to the table. I started doing a lot of mental and emotional work, especially the mental side of the game, sports. And I began to figure out who I was without soccer through injuries and the resiliency and character I had to show to come back and play. And I learned a hard way at times that soccer is it's a sports business. It's a business. I love this game, but when you play professionally, it is a business for first and foremost. Yeah. I wasn't willing to just be told, "Here's what you're worth, take it or leave it." So at the time, Philadelphia told me that, "Hey, we really want you, and here's what we think that equates contract-wise." And I didn't agree with that. So I took another offer to go to New York, and there was an offer I couldn't turn down.
Yeah.
And everyone was shocked. And it was a loan move at the start with an option to buy. But I started believing in myself in a way that I don't think I had before. I believe that it's okay to stand up for yourself. Yeah. And not everyone's going to like that when you do. So I went to New York, and I was there for a very short time, only I think 6 matches or so. And because of how I was playing in New York, I was playing for Giovanni Savarese, the manager of Portland. Something in me came alive. And playing for a manager who just believed in me so much, who just would say, "You're the first name on the team sheet week in and week out, not because I like it, because you've earned it. That you represent something that this team, the team I want on the field, needs to embody." It was so empowering for me. And that led to an unexpected move to Miami, who they bought out my rights. They bought out my contract from New York and Philadelphia. And I had 36 hours to make that decision, from getting the news to moving to South Beach. And I know LeBron tried to say it, but I'm going to say it even better. I ended up taking my talents down to South Beach. And when Miami FC brought me in, they told me something I'd never heard before. They said that they wanted to build the organization around me. And that was so powerful to hear. I didn't realize how much that's what I always wanted to play for and to be involved in. was to be a cornerstone and be such a pivotal cog in the wheel of an organization that wants to win and things, different. And that led to playing for Alessandro Nesta and learning so much from the tactical side. And I grew so much as a player, but really as a leader. And he named me as captain, which was one of the greatest honors that when I look back in my career that I've ever had. Yeah. And I got to captain this team and captain that team to a historic season and multiple championships. And from there, I thought, I'm back at the beach, back again, as they say. Back again at the beach, playing for a World Cup champion, historic team. We're beating MLS teams. We're the team everyone's talking about right now.
That's good.
And so yet again, I'm back in uncertainty. And in 2018, it was a difficult start to the season because it was the threat of my career could have been finished. The league was folding. The club, Miami FC, was going to the MPSL, which is amateur football. Yeah. And it was this sense of a fall from grace. And FC Cincinnati became the team everyone wanted to go to at the time because of their potential MLS, move. Mm. So I'm paddling out in Miami Beach. A good story starts with I'm paddling out on the beach. But I'm paddling out in the Atlantic Ocean, and I brought my phone with me, and the gaffer at FC Cincinnati rings me, and he said, "Hey, I'd like to welcome you to the club." I'm thinking, you're lying, bro. How'd you get myself into
the lines are tapped, bro?
Yeah, lines are hella tapped. Like, clearly, my first reaction was, "Whose man is this?" Like, come on. And so I didn't take him seriously almost because I was like, no way. Sure enough, about a week later, I was on a flight to Cincinnati.
Damn, bro.
And they made the deal work. Miami FC filled out the transfer papers, and I got to go to FC Cincinnati. And I went from Miami to being one of the last guys on the depth chart because I was out of shape. I wasn't in playing shape. And just the stress of not knowing what's going to happen with your contract, with the league and everything, it took its toll on me.
Yeah.
So I had to gain fitness. But the one thing you learn in football, or one of the things I've learned in football along the way, is the ball never lies. And football has a way of rewarding those who endure the difficult moments. And I always have had this feeling that not just timing is everything, but we all get our time. And will you be ready when your time comes? So I knew that my time was coming. I would get 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 30 minutes there as I was building up my fitness. Start, come off the bench, start. And when we played Louisville that year, I knew that was my time. And I knew that I hadn't come all this way just to fall flat on my face. And I just trusted my story. I knew that there was a story that was being written that, was embodied in my soccer career, but much bigger than my soccer career, that I have a story and it was still being written. And it wasn't going to be sitting on the bench was not going to be the final chapter.
Nah, for sure not.
Ability that it could have been, but I knew I hadn't come that far just to fail and sit on the bench and not have things work out in whatever way they're going to work out. So end up earning the spot and did not look back, and helped lead the team to another historic season, winning the USL regular season. We, at the time, held all the records you could hold in the league until a team out west in Phoenix smashed those records. But records are meant to be broken.
Yeah,
it was such a fun season. And to play in front of that fan base, there's nothing like it in the country for me, what I got to experience. Every fan base brings certain things, but just a sheer volume of people. When you play in front of 30,000 people week in and week out, it's electrifying.
Yeah.
And Cincinnati is a sports town of its own. And I felt very blessed to be affiliated with two sports towns in Philadelphia and Cincinnati. And both fan bases, they just have this raw passion for sports. And I recognized that when I got to Cincinnati from my time in Philadelphia. And I thought I did enough to warrant a contract in the MLS. The club and I went back and forth, especially with management and the staff. And it looked like they were going to offer me a contract. So I was stoked. I thought, I'm coming back to the league. almost like that going back. I had that song playing,
Yeah.
and there's things you can't control, and there's decisions that when they happen, you don't know why.
Yeah.
But they happen for a reason, and it changes the trajectory of your life and your career. So the contract didn't come. I ended up being probably the last guy cut from that USL roster to transition to MLS. And the timing of it wasn't ideal because it was January, right before preseason.
Yeah.
So I was kind of scrambling for a team. And San Antonio FC, Darren Powell, who we both know well, reached out and he said, I have a good team that I'm building here in San Antonio, but we need a leader. Will you come? We're building something. I need you. Not that I want you. I need you. You're needed.
Yeah.
And I said yes. I didn't think twice about it. And when I got to San Antonio, there was so much promise. The facilities were incredible, and they are incredible. The talent that we had, I mean, you remember up and down, we could have fielded two quality teams.
Yeah, for sure.
You can only do so much. There are issues that we'll get into the late night podcast about, but there are so many distractions going on. We had inside the locker room, there are distractions, and we needed more leaders. And I think there are guys, I think of the likes of yourself, John Fennick, I think of Jono, big ups to Jono over there in Sweden. But there are guys who it wasn't their time yet to step into that leadership role. But if you were lucky enough, you got to see it. And I'm grateful that although the time in San Antonio didn't lead to a championship, and there was a difficult season for all of us, it was exhausting. It was frustrating because we had the talent to win. And we let ourselves down, and there's other ways that we were let down as well. And so it's never a good feeling when you lose and you don't make the playoffs and have all the weapons. But what I felt like I gained from that was it led me to a place that I never have fallen in love with the city in a way that I've fallen in love with being here in San Antonio. And there's a reason why I'm here, retired. It's an amazing city, and it is a gem of a city that you make of it, you get out of it what you put into it. Yeah. And it's such a canvas, and it's a city where whatever you want to be, whatever you want to create, there's space for it here. Yeah, and there's to leave a legacy and to really create and make something real of yourself and create a career for yourself. So I saw that from day one, and I hope to continue to create and write my story here. And it helps when you enjoy your personal life as well. So
for sure. Now, having taken the decision to retire, is there anything in like your career that difficult moments that you wish you could change? You can't always change everything, but is there that maybe one thing that you might have done different despite the lessons that you learned from it?
If there's one thing I maybe would have gone back and changed, it probably would have been that decision to, should I play for the US or should I play for Sierra Leone in 2012? Yeah. You don't know what you don't know. And at the same time, look back at my career, I have no regrets, to be honest. Every lesson that I gained, those lessons are what's going to take me forward much more in the future than if I would have gotten what I wanted. I would have never, ever known what character of resilience meant had I not gone through injuries in Philadelphia, where it's called the city of brotherly love for a reason, because it's a tough town. And they expect you to win, and they expect you to perform. Yeah. And Philly fans are incredible because they are so loyal. They show up and they want to win. They want to beat New York. They want to beat DC, but they want to win no matter what. And they want you to play hard. Even if you have one leg, you run. And each city I got to play in and each team I got to play for, I always took something away from that experience. And, ideally would I have wanted to retire and have the swan song Disney moment of being clapped off the field. Who doesn't want that? But not everyone gets that. Most guys don't get that, actually. That's the fairy tale version that very few guys get to live. Everyone wants a Michael Jordan moment where you hit the last shot. Everyone wants a Kobe Bryant moment where rest in peace, where
Yeah.
you know, however many points and standing O. But for most people, you just retire.
Yeah.
It's your time to retire. It's your time. The one thing that I am proud of is this. I'm proud that I got to walk away on my terms.
Yeah. Yeah.
It forced out the door. It was a decision that I made that my passion changed. I love this game. I love the game of football. It's given me everything, and it'll continue to give me more than I've ever dreamt of. But for some, when the flame flickers, you can hold on a little bit more and you grind it out to the end. And for others, and this is where I fall in, once the flame goes, you can't fake it. You're just done.
Yeah.
So I knew that once that flame started going out, I knew it was my time. And I look forward to not just doing stuff like this, but I look forward to getting into the next chapter of my career and this new passion that's been ignited in me, which is broadcasting, digital content creation, and media.
Yeah.
You can tell I love to chat, and I love talking about football, and I love stories. So my ultimate goal is by 2026, I want to be a broadcaster for the World Cup.
Sure, man.
Next year, might be even seeing me doing something for the Euros. You know, let's hope. But I'm a dreamer, man. I dream big, because if you're not going to dream, who else is going to dream for you? And I've been putting one foot in front of the other, and it's been really encouraging seeing little things open up and staying busy. No one tells you how to retire in the midst of a pandemic, but it's been an experience in itself, walking that journey and writing that story as I go.
No, for sure. Having had time to know you and know your story, like, why not dream? The things that
Yeah.
you have achieved, like, nothing is. I know for sure I'm a massive believer in God, but you know, the tongue is very powerful, and in most cases you go through situations and you want something, but really you get something that's beyond your imagination.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to life for you after football and how you navigate yourself and stuff. But thank you so much for just giving me your time to talk today and stuff. Yeah, I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome, man. Anything for you. I got nothing but love for you, and I must respect, and I will always be a fan of yours, man. I just hope you leave the front door open in you know, the UK or wherever,
No,
you
for
know,
sure.
what awaits you takes you and comes. I fully expect sweet tickets for any European sporting events, but that's
No, for sure.
nah.
Now,
But
now we'll definitely catch up soon.
Yeah,
Either if I'm in America or you come here or we meet at the Euros.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Oh man, you
for
don't know.
sure,
I
man.
gotta take me to the kebab spots and the Indian food places.
Oh,
I got.
do you know what? Yeah, you need to come down and watch a Man U game.
Oh, bro, I haven't been in a long time. I went to, I think I've gone to one or two, but I haven't been to a proper Prem match.
Now we need to do that.
I tell you what, we'll do a Prem and a Champions League match.
For sure,
I've
for
always done Champions League. I've done a few Prem matches, but I've always wanted to do Champions League at Old Trafford. So I mean,
Champions
now
League is
that
different.
we're in there, yeah. Now that we're back.
Bro,
Man,
the Premier League, crazy.
there's nothing, no other league like it.
No, for sure. Nah, thank you for your time, and I won't hold you up any longer.
Yeah, as always, anything for you, man.
For sure, thank you.
Leroy, where are you taking me?